nothing really matters. Or whatever. Morality. What do you think about morality? And as we start to break these down, as we say them out loud, even if we haven't fully thought it through, we start to systematize what we believe. We need to give kids that opportunity. We need to talk to them about all these random things and go, hey, let's pick any topic. And this would be like an example if I went to a youth, like if you're a youth. A parent says, hey, this is my son, John. He's in 11th grade and he likes sports. It's awesome, man. What sport do you like? Oh, well, I play hockey. You play hockey. Do you like it? Oh, I don't know. I've been doing it for 12 years. So you've been doing it for a while. You've been really consistent. Way to stick through, man. That's wild. 12 years is a long time. I can't think of many things I've done for 12 years. That's impressive. Now, if you could choose any other sport, what one do you think you'd play? Well, I would play, fill in the blank. I would actually like to swim, but I can't because it's the same time as hockey. All right, I'm learning something about you a little bit. Why? I'm letting you talk. I'm giving you open questions. I learned enough about you to open a door into an open question of, do you enjoy it? Now that's yes or no. If there was any other sport you could do, what would it be? Now you're thinking. I'm just talking. And if it was something like technology, hey, this is my son, he's always playing video games. I can't seem to get him off of it. And that'll happen literally right in front of the child. And that blows my mind a little bit because, it's a little different topic, I guess, where we're talking about how we show dignity to our children in front of others. I've seen that a couple times too, where it's, hey, this is my son, John, plays video games 8 hours a day and does nothing else. Can you do anything? What can you do? And sometimes I'll get that. And really when I hear that, I do nothing, but I try my best to show grace. I'm not addressing that. Hey man, what video games do you like to play? It's awesome. That's crazy. Back in the day when we were playing video games, like we weren't online, and now you can actually make money doing it, which is nuts, man.
Monetizing video games on YouTube.
So what YouTube videos do you watch?
Right.
Boom. I'm in a door and I'm going to explore this kid's world a little bit, and then I can speak into it. I can't speak beforehand. Most parents know their kids, so they're already ready to lecture, right? Like, I see you playing video games. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like this you should mentality. Like, I'm going to fix it versus just trying to let them explore it and understand it.
Yes, yeah.
Let them be themselves explore. Because there's a certain point, like, okay, your children are under the age of 5, I believe.
Yeah, they'll be 5 and 3 this summer.
You see what I mean? Like,
I got a lot of experience though, man. 5 years of experience is like just crazy.
They're going to listen to you. Yeah, no, it's all good. But they're sponges at that point. But it's like when you get to that point, there is the tunnel ends, like the information that they absorb from you. It ends, and the children that you seem to be talking about are in that preteen, late elementary school age. So I'm just like, oh, this is interesting. So and as parents, we think they're this little baby, and that that you can micromanage them, you can helicopter parent. But in reality, we're supposed to be training. It goes back to
we say parenting, but we should be saying training.
Training, correct. And letting them make decisions, giving them the option. Hey, if you do this, I believe in conclusion this could happen this way, but you should not even say you should, but you go ahead and really try it for yourself. Yeah. See what happens,
Yeah, right.
And getting upset is not even the way. There has to be grace. Otherwise, we're not even giving the true gospel of Jesus Christ as a representative. When we talk about truth, like, okay, this is my truth. Maybe this is not your truth yet, but you might have to experience it. You're absolutely right. You have to let go. You have to really embrace.
It's hard though.
It's so hard.
No one likes to lose control.
We have naturally. And think about this. We have the rescue mentality. We all want to be the children's Iron Man, Superman, Batman. They're superhero and come to the rescue even if they don't see it. We may have, as parents, the idea of doing right, but in the end, we're not even their Cape Crusader in their lens. We actually are pushing further away. And that's the thing. And if you hear parents talk, you're right. They're like, I can't control them anymore. Are you supposed to? They have their own mind. They're created in God's image. That's a thought there.
And we lose the idea of control because there's something called instructional control.
Ooh.
You do want like instructional control. And I think about that because I also come from like an ABA background, which is applied behavior analytics. So like and I'm not even very heavy in that world. I just have some experience in it. And something we would do is control instructional control. So you do have this idea of like, hey, go pick up your shoes. Will they listen to you? You do want that control where if I give you an instruction, will you follow it? Do you know what's coming next after I give you an instruction? But yeah, when it comes to like the behavior, a lot of times as parents, we're looking at behavior and we want to modify that. We want to control it. And yeah, you're right. We can't, or even thoughts, ideas. We want to control the ideas. What would make you think that? Why would you criticize my political opponent? Like we get into those. And you're right, man. I am thinking more like preteen teenagers, because when we're talking about reaching the youth, if you're a minister, if you're a parent, if you're a youth leader, if you're a church pastor, maybe you're a pastor of a church, you don't work with the youth, but you still have youth in your congregation, whoever you might be, and if you're intentional with working with youth, teenagers seem to be the hardest to reach, right? Yeah, little kids are sponges. Yeah, so I don't even think of like, how do you reach little kids? It's like, hey man, I hit a Skittle in the gym. You want to go find it? And like
they're gone.
Hey, here's a piece of paper. How many fold marks do you think you can put in it? Oh, probably like a bajillion, and then they'll crumble.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
It's fun.
As I've gotten older, little kids are so stinking cool, man. They're just so pure. They're innocent. They love. There's no self-conscious feelings. And when you start to work with teenagers, oh man, the game changes so quickly. And what's very difficult, if you are in the youth ministry space at all, you'll probably know that older kids, they're gone. You know, like they just seem to fall off as they get a little older. You know, some churches really have good programs where they do have like a good like thing to really hold on to those older kids. Like they might save that mission trip for the older kids who have, you know, really shown that they can handle that. So that's a good way to really pull in those older kids who are like, man, I want to go to Mexico, but the only way I can do that is if I do camp this year and serve this year and do this. You know, so there's a certain way that you can pull in the high school kids, but it's very difficult. Just that initial interaction, just getting them into the church seems to be very difficult. I think with young men, the phrase is the 3 W's. Women, work, and wheels. I think that's it. So as young men, as they start to date, as they start to get a job, as they're driving, bye. See you, dude. Yep. You go get that out of your system, I guess, because that's really what seems to be the pattern. And it's very unfortunate because young men, man, I don't know how else to put this, but young men are so important. So are young women. I mean, young people are important. But what I'm saying there is like, we should be reaching our young men. We should be reaching our young women at that very critical stage in life where you are. So when we talk of teenage years, it's so critical because you can make a decision based off of a temporary emotion that has permanent effects, right? Like now you have permanent consequences because this temporary emotion you were feeling when you were 15. So we need to be reaching our youth. We should be reaching them at a young age and training them up so that when they get older, they choose the right way to go, right? And sometimes we're reaching youth, like for example, me, I was 15 and I was very wayward. At that point, I had already been arrested. I had already served community service. I had done things that probably some younger kids, I really hope, had not done. And so for me to get saved at 15 and to know Christ at 15, like that's hard. It's hard to find young men and young women who have no faith background and to bring them in. Some of them are seeking, like we said, but other times it's you're up against a lot of barriers, I guess.
And one of the biggest barriers, and shout out to you, Max, for saying this a couple weeks ago, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Yeah. I was at a breakfast, like a men's Bible study in Harrisburg, and this young man.
Oh, is this at Gasoline? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So Max said, and I'm going to share that video to make sure he knows I'm shouting out to him because I'm not taking credit for this. He came up to all of us old heads. He's 21. You know, he sticks out as a young man. Yeah. He goes, you know why you can't reach out to these young men? Because you don't run off of battery. And he shows his cell phone. And he says, you all run on gasoline.
Yeah.
you meet person to person. You think you have to engage a person. The times are different. You know, we see who you are through the screen. We go ahead and see. We're always scrolling on TikTok, social media, and we're getting influenced by that first. We need to combat that by going to the electricity. I said, wow, that's pretty. That's pretty convicting to a certain extent. But this is the reason why we're doing these podcasts. That's the reason why we're trying to reach out to you. We're trying to help you. We're trying to shape your mind.
Yeah, you 15-year-old watching this, get to church.
Yeah.
I saw this thing this morning. I think it was just this morning. It was like a little reel or something where this priest was saying, like, if you've tried church and it didn't work, and it says try something else, just try again. You know, just go again. Anyway, that's stupid. But electricity or gasoline? Do I run off of gasoline?
I know I run off of gasoline.
Oh my goodness, dude! I feel like I run off of adrenaline.
You're a hybrid.
Maybe I might be a hybrid. I think in the millennial generation, I know they call us microwave millennials. I think that is absolutely true. Have you ever heard that phrase?
I've never heard of that, actually. Go ahead,
it's awesome. That. Microwave millennial, I think, is just the idea that we want fast results. So I think that came, I could be wrong, but I think it came from like the job turnaround. Like millennials will get a job, land it for like 2 years, and then want to jump to another thing because they don't feel like they're producing enough. You come to a job that requires longevity and patience and time to see a thing. Ooh. And we just go, oh, I'm not changing the world here. I better go look somewhere else. Yeah, it's not really how it goes. So yeah, the younger generation is running off electricity. They like got to see something now, and like I want to work from home and make really a change from my basement.
Guilty as charged, by the way.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I do think millennials are, I think us, who are in our 30s, you know, late 20s maybe, we are kind of hybrids a little bit because we saw the change. I remember putting a VC.
The internet just came on from VCR
quick question. Yeah, what do you play VHS tapes in? A
VCR.
A VCR. But a lot of times you'll hear like people go, "Hey, do you have a VHS player?" Oh man, it's been a long time since we've been in the 1900s, has it? It's a VCR, and I think like we were there during that time. We saw. So fidgety. We saw that change. We saw the phones come into place. And so that goes back to that point. If I'm talking to my daughters when they're getting ready to have a phone and all that stuff, I don't want to be a parent. I don't think we should even be adults who go, you know, when I was a kid, we didn't even have cell phones. I took my house phone as many houses down the street as I could to see how far it would reach. And you know, you should be thankful to have what you have. I know we're kind of mocking that because, yeah, you said that speech. We say, but man, how many times have I heard a parent lean right into that? I get introduced to a young person,
Guilty.
And you know, the mom will say, you know, she's on her phone so much, and you know, when I was a kid, we didn't even have phones. It's like, yeah, but how long were you on that? How long did you stand up next to your wall phone with the cord? Tell me. Oh, well, you know, we were kids then. You know, yeah, they're a kid now. So you got to ask them now what they're going through, because man, I've said this to older people, and I don't think they like it. Sorry for saying older people. One, they don't like that either.
I mean, I'm the one in my 40s, so.
I know. Yeah, I guess so. And I'm like, I feel old, but I hope when I'm like in my 60s, I want to say like, hey, I'm in my prime, man. I'm gonna always say I'm in my prime.
I feel like I still am.
You just got to keep telling yourself. Yeah. So like, I just find that like, So they haven't liked when I say this. I say, you know, kids don't care. They don't care. If you say, you know, when I was a kid, we didn't even have video games. We had to go outside and play with sticks. They don't care. They didn't grow up in that generation. They don't have any frame of reference to what you're referring to. So now you just became the old person who has nothing really to add to the conversation. You don't want to be that to your kids. You might want to throw in a joke, like you were saying, throw some spontaneity in there just to mess with them.
Keep it spicy, yeah.
Like I said, when I was a kid, you can joke around. You can. I find that this works with kids, like you were saying, with joking. Yeah, when I was a kid, we didn't even have cell phones. We had rocks. You ever hear those?
Cassette tapes, yeah.
But if you say, something like, we had an 8-track player. You know what an 8-track player is? They just go, whatever.
Laserdisc.